Hello, I'm a Cat, and one of the things I've been really enjoying recently is checking out old Java servers that have been going for years now and seeing some of the things that they have done. I recently checked out a server which had recreated the entirety of Earth inside Minecraft, and that's something you all agreed was pretty impressive and pretty amazing to see. But you know, one thing that's harder than creating the real-life Earth in Minecraft is creating a pretend Earth inside Minecraft, and that's exactly what the server Westeros Craft intends to do, because this is a recreation of the entirety of the Game of Thrones world/universe, but inside of Minecraft. They have the same mapping tool where you can see the entire progression of the server, and today we're going to be checking it out. We're going to be going all the way from Castle Black and indeed north of the wall, all the way down to King's Landing. We're doing the journey that's going to be needed to be done in Season 8 of Game of Thrones. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I hope you all enjoy the journey where you come along with me. Please do like this video if you do like it, because it helps out the channel and lets know you like seeing cool stuff like this. But yeah, today I actually have one of the regular players of the server here to give me a little bit of a guided tour. So in 20 seconds, tell us a little bit about the server, anything you think we should know, and why you think the server's worth playing.
Yeah, so Westeros Craft, it is a creative server. It taps into that creative side of Minecraft. And we are recreating the world of Game of Thrones, A Song of Ice and Fire. It's worth mentioning that everything on the server is based on how it would have been at the end of Season 1 or Book 1. And while we take inspiration from both the books and the show, we primarily take the inspiration from the books. So that's why you might see some things look different than in the show, maybe bigger, more fantasy-esque. And on our server, it's really about the detail. For example, if something is mentioned as that castle having so many towers and it looks like that and that, we make sure it's represented as that on the server as well. But yeah, I think I've gone over my 20 seconds, so I'll pass it back to you.
I'm noticing, looking at the logo here, we've got like, I really like this by the way, we've got like a dragon, a lion, a wolf. Is that meant to represent the Starks, the Lannisters and the Targaryens?
Yeah, exactly. Just the two houses that aren't represented on there are the Arryns of the Vale and the Martells of Dorne.
But we got the Baratheons, we got the Iron Island people.
Yeah, the Squids.
What are they called? The
Greyjoys.
Greyjoys, that's the one. But yeah, I'm loving this logo before we even start with anything. But yeah, let's dive right over to Castle Black. It's worth mentioning this server is entirely running through, like, because there's a certain number of mods you have to install to go through it, so there's a separate launcher for it. But as a result of that, you get some nice access to things like this map right here. There's a few nice fun effects, and also it means that when you spawn in, you can teleport right to where you want to go, such as Castle Black and the Night's Watch. But just in case warps aren't your thing, that's a pretty standard server thing. We've also got this, which I think is really cool, as well as that online website in the same way the Earth servers have them. They also have a nice little 2D style map, like old style here, and then a kind of 3D-ish map. And if you jump on any point on this map and you hit a warp sign, you can kind of see where you're teleporting to in map terms, because everyone loves a good map, or at least, I mean, on this channel they do. So yeah, you can see this is the wall right here. I mean, lovingly recreated in tiny scale. If you want to create Game of Thrones, I mean, at this scale, it's quite easy to do by yourself. But yeah, using this little mini map, we can therefore go to, say, the wall, or we can go to Castle Black. I mean, they're basically the same thing. But yeah, we're gonna go to both these places, and we're gonna see the very far north. So yeah, this is as far as north goes. I mean, until you hit the wall at least. Again, magical barrier. We'll pretend there's nothing north of there today. And yeah, this is Castle Black, which you're probably familiar with, whether a book or a show watcher. And yeah, it's really cool to see this made in Minecraft. Like, again, there's just something amazing about seeing this kind of elevator shaft style thing next to these huge staircases. It shows like the effort they're willing to go for on the server to really recreate the scale. It's pretty fun to look at, in my opinion. So yeah, here are the battlements, for instance, at the top of the wall, looking down to where the wildlings would have raided in one of the famous battles. You can also see the tunnel down here, the magic that they sometimes let people through, sometimes no. And it's a whole fun plot point by itself. And actually, since it's dark in here, we can show that this one of the mods that comes installed as part of this is it's the one where you can have torchlight follow you around. I think that's fun, at least. So yeah, basically, pretty cool to see inside Minecraft, even if with a couple of mods in the texture pack, this like lovingly recreated block by block, like every single part of Castle Black, it's all here. It's nice. So here's the main hall, might recognize this as well. And again, you can even see here some more fun attention to detail, like the mugs, the plates, etc. Because as well as all of the default blocks in Minecraft, there's also a few extra ones to allow them to recreate things. Because as you know, in the books, George R.R. Martin is famous for describing food at length, so you couldn't not have a plate filled with the correct amounts of food here, or it wouldn't be Game of Thrones. So That sounds like fact to me, right? So yeah, Castle Black, super nice, super fun to look at. One of the most iconic parts, mostly I guess because like Jon Snow spent so much time there. But yeah, basically super fun thing to see. But we can follow the trail south if we like. But it takes you a long time. I would be warned. Like apparently the journey from Castle Black to King's Landing on foot is somewhere about 3 to 4 hours, so keep that in mind if you want to do a long walk through the Game of Thrones universe. You can see some fun villages and whatnot along the way, but we're going to head towards Winterfell now. So yeah, this is Winterfell over here, and Winterfell is a lot bigger, both in the real-life universe and in obviously the books than in the show, but it is worth noting it's still got all the same iconic little bits here and there, and it's, again, a very northern city. In fact, you could say it's the... Is it called the capital of the North, or?
Yeah, the regional capital.
Regional capital. It's the capital of that North place, and you can see they've got these huge castle walls, separate moat in between them. We got all this stuff in the middle. And can we go to the crypts, because I've heard it's safe down there.
Yeah, so if you just follow me over here. Yeah, so this is actually the old part. This is the tower, the old tower where, you know, that famous scene from the first episode happens.
It sounds like you're trying not to spoil it. Like, oh no, I don't want to spoil season 1, episode 1. Oh no.
Yeah, so that's that tower that Bran was climbing, and this is actually the ruins of the very first Winterfell, because it didn't always used to be that big.
Oh no way.
So,
I mean, it used to be very small then, apparently, right?
Yeah, so then it's kind of hidden away, the crypts underneath it. I don't know, have you lost me?
Yes, I have lost you.
It's here. Kind of hidden away.
So now we can fully confirm the crypts are in fact safe, or at least so it seems. We got, again, some more famous little bits. Again, so cool to see it in Minecraft. Like, the scale of these crypts too, like, just the endlessness they seem to go down for. Like, what's all the way at the end? Is there anything... Is that just future space, or...?
Yeah, just future space for the future dead people.
I mean, the Starks intend to live a very long time. They're gonna rule the North for another 1,000 years, so you gotta plan that ahead of time, yeah. So this is the Deku tree, you know, all familiar with that famous Legend of Zelda thing. Don't know what it's doing here in Game of Thrones, but no, yeah, this is part of the Godswood. You know, maybe a important scene in the Battle of Winterfell is over here, maybe not. I don't know if that's spoilers or not, but yeah, basically there's a nice little place here filled with trees. A little bit too filled with trees. It almost looks like a coral reef, but again, it's beautiful otherwise, and I really like this particular section. It's nice that Winterfell has a little tree section even inside the walls. If I was a city planner, I would not build a forest inside my walls. But again, they're accurately recreating Winterfell, so they have to also keep with the mistakes. Although, again, that's probably heresy to Game of Thrones fans. It totally is a mistake.
Yeah, it is a part of the lore that most castles have a godswood inside them.
Oh really? Oh, it's just we've only seen one in the show.
Yeah.
So a little further south, we have the Dreadforts. Famously, the Boltons are from here. This is their house place. Maybe that's important to the show. Who knows for sure? But what is important to say regardless is their sigil is the Flayed Man, which, you know, it's pretty horrific. It's impressive that you can make that with Minecraft banners in this particular thing. But yeah, you can see how they've recreated Dreadfort here too, just in case you're one of those, you know, Ramsay Bolton did nothing wrong people. And I'm just saying, I've seen the YouTube videos. It's a pretty convincing argument. You just remove like every single bad thing he did. He seems like a nice guy otherwise. He smiles a lot. He wants to do good things. He holds children and smiles at them. What more do you need to be a good person?
Yeah, he was one of my favorite characters actually.
You're a monster.
I didn't like what he did, but he played this role well.
Next up on our journey down south is the Twins, and this is I was given a few disclaimers that this was apparently a much older build on the server, hasn't been updated in a few years, but despite being a few years old, these Twins, again famous for the phrase and the many questionable, if not outright just bad things that are behind them. But yeah, basically, you know, that's why it's famous, that's why it's here. Despite being a few years old worth of building, you can still see it's quite an incredible thing to look at. Obviously, you know, you can go inside these banquet halls and maybe you won't come out on the other side, who knows for sure, or maybe somewhere in here. There's also some impressively put together cellars in here. Again, even for an old build, even for something that's not even one of the major factions, like main places. There's a lot of detail put into the small things like this, and I think this is nice personally. Okay, seriously, look at these banners. This is just the Gryffindor banner. It literally just is. Like, the Lannisters are just Gryffindor, but scaled out into a civilization. Also, something I like, a lot of recreations of like places in games and movies and stuff get this wrong, but this feels like, you know, tens of thousands, or if not thousands of people actually live here. Like, there's enough houses to actually represent that. Whereas a lot of games have like 8 houses for a village of 1 million, you know? And it's like, that doesn't add up. Looking at you, Skyrim. So one of the cool things about any Minecraft server, in my opinion, is being able to look at it and kind of see some inspiration from an amazing build. And even though this is a recreation of Castle Rock, so you're kind of getting inspiration from the show, the idea of taking a giant mountain, or making one if you want to go really crazy, and then turning that into your giant castle is something I really like. Look at the size, the scale of this entire thing. You can see just how much is going on inside the mountain, and then if we go back and we look outside, you can see how many like kind of exterior places there are, like ways in and out, like kind of balconies almost, but mountain balconies. It looks incredible, even just on the sides with all of this stuff, and then we see the castle on the top, the big payoff, the thing that's all leading to. And yeah, you know, you can see why the Lannisters are rich in the show, or one of the signs of the fact that they're rich in the show. It's pretty big, pretty rich. So what you can also see around Lannisport is a bunch of ships. Really, like, even the ones really far out, you can see the detail in each of these. Because, again, there's lots of ships coming in and out. You know, again, maybe one of the ways you get your wealth is by trading it seems. But yeah, the detail on all of these ships, the amount going on here, it's crazy to see. And again, if we go a little higher up, you can see just the scale of all of this. And this is just, again, one small part in the giant server. It's just a significant city. But seriously, look at the size of this. Okay. Oh, and there's even a lion on the floor there. What a fun little detail. So in case you want to see a little bit of a work in progress on this server, this is Highgarden, which is where the Tyrells are based. They're big on gardening, which, if we're being honest, right, like, the power of money, the power of ice, the power of dragons, and the power of, like, gardens, can we just admit they've kind of, you know, they got nerfed a little bit. There's a reason that they're never going for the throne, right? But yeah, you can see there's a few in progress markers here and there, like saying what needs to be done and what's being done, etc. But even in this in progress state, it's still stunning to look at. It's got this huge hedge maze around the edge that we were just discussing. It's not really a practical defense, but it looks very good. And yeah, I think that's how I would describe the entirety of Highgarden. Really, like, looks pretty nice, not very practical. And yeah, if you wanted to see something in progress, including all of the people around it and whatnot, here is a good way to do that. Oh, there's a fun little floating bit here. Can you explain what this means? Like, what this means to the builders?
So yeah, this is a style guide, and they're created by the project leads to show builders how buildings should look. So the person in charge for this specific area will put plots on the ground, so the outline of a specific house. And they'll also mention what class the house will be and what the profession is of the person living there. So these test buildings are here to show you what style you have to use for the specific classes, and as you go higher in class, the more fancy the house will be.
I like how there's, like, they've nailed it down to, like, middle upper, middle lower,
yeah,
middle class. Like, we gotta work out the exact income level of every resident and then build from there. That's absurd.
Yeah, also over here, if you look at these arrows.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure if it's the same on this specific project, but usually when they have these arrows, it indicates the direction that the wind is blowing.
Oh, so when a flag's waving. Or,
yeah,
stuff like that. Oh, that's crazy. It's a small thing, but that's the sort of thing that, like, shows the commitment, I guess. Like, again, like, showing the middle upper, the lower, the upper, all these little things is kind of crazy. I do have to wonder though, like, it looks here like this is a low class house. In my head, like, in the Game of Thrones universe, you wouldn't get to have a 2-room house of 2 stories if you were low class, like, right? No? Am I crazy?
No, yeah, you're right. So it's because this specific test is for Highgarden, the city, which is quite wealthy compared to other places. So even low class houses are decently sized. But if you go to rural areas, you'll see there are like 1 room or 1.5 rooms.
Okay, just making sure that the accuracy to the sadness of the Middle Ages and or Westeros are maintained, and it looks like they definitely are.
Yeah.
So here is King's Landing, and King's Landing is absolutely huge, right? Like the size of it's never truly impressed on you in the show, but it's meant to be big, right?
Yeah, it really is. I've got the house counts here for what we built on the server. If you count all the houses inside of the city walls, it numbers over 4,300. And if you include the houses just outside of the city walls, which is technically still part of King's Landing, it goes over 5,000 houses, which were all made by hand. And for King's Landing to be completed, it took around 2 years.
Jeez, yeah, you can really see looking around at just like, yeah, there's a lot of people here. A lot of, like, even if every house is just one person, we're looking at thousands around us. Like, I can't, like, most people would get so demotivated working on the house that's just the middle of the sea of thousands. But every single one of these houses does have detail and interior. Like this one, there's some herbs, some chicken. Like every house has a purpose, a class. All these things were thought of to, again, accurately match the book, and that's wild to me.
So yeah, we're back at the market where we started.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, this is one of the 7 gates of King's Landing. There are 7 gates in King's Landing. That one's the Gate of the Gods.
Uh-huh.
And in the layout of King's Landing, this gate is directly opposite the Red Keep. So if you follow this road straight ahead, you'll eventually get to the Red Keep. But we'll have a look at some other things along the way. So, for example, on the right over here, we got City Barracks. So that's for the guards of the city. We can have a look at any houses. We got a sign for a brewery here. So if we go in here, we can see at the back they've got some brewing vats to make beer.
Hey, nice.
And yeah, for everyone who builds the houses, they have to like research how the profession worked, so they know what to put in the houses. And this square is called Cobbler Square. So cobbler, for if you don't know what a cobbler is, it's like a shoe repair person. So around the square, you'll see a lot of cobblers.
Oh, right. There's like, it's almost like a city where you get like specialized. I mean, I guess it is a city.
Yeah.
There's like specialized areas.
Yeah, they even have a guild hall over here for the cobblers.
Oh, no way.
This house over here.
Do you know what the story is with the statue of Jaehaerys Targaryen the Wise?
Yeah, Jaehaerys was they sometimes call him Jaehaerys the Wise King or the Old King because he lived so long. It was over 200 years before the show takes place, but he was a good king, and some say that under his reign it was the best time for the realm.
Hey, we got a good Targaryen. That's nice.
Oh yeah, and if you want to see something else, we'll just have to look around the square and like look for a manhole cover. Oh, here, yeah. We got one here. Behind you.
Okay.
So,
okay.
if you'd like to go into the sewers.
What's in the sewers? Oh, even the underground sewer system is thought out and well put together. Jesus.
Yeah, so this is a cistern. So it's kind of this is where sewage water collects.
Uh-huh.
But if you go, for example, over here, you see a tunnel. On other sides, you see tunnels. Like underneath the whole city, there's a whole sewer system. If you follow this road further, here is the main square of King's Landing, the Dragon Square. This is a famous inn in King's Landing called the Red Stag. But it used to be called the Red Dragon. But then when Robert Baratheon took over, he didn't like that name, so he renamed it.
And now it's his favourite place to drink, maybe? Oh, look, even the banners, the cross between the Lannister and the Stag one. That's a good bit of detail.
Here we have a bathhouse, so they can wash.
A what house? Oh, a wash house.
Yeah, well, a bathhouse, so you can go and have a bath if you want. Yeah,
it blew my mind when I discovered that people didn't used to like have baths. They used to go to a bath. Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, you go to the place to be clean once a week or once a month or whatever. So not only do they have bathhouses, but we also have inside those baths some, coals underneath it. Even though you can never see them from above, you can go down here and you can see how they maintain the below parts of it. And that, again, there's almost a part of you thinking that's too much detail, right? But I'm loving seeing the love and affection someone put into this one bathhouse. The hours of thinking someone's like, oh, we've got to have a basement with the correct amount of like steam under each one. Otherwise, it wouldn't make any sense. And I love that personally.
We can go to Baylor Sept if you want now. That's along that road. And if you look to the right of you, this funny looking building.
Uh-huh.
This is the Alchemist's Guild, so this is where all the wildfire is created.
Ah. Intriguing. So if you thought attention to detail was impressive when we were talking about these small areas, now look at Septor's Balin. This is one of the most iconic parts of King's Landing. So as you can imagine, it's received the right amount of attention here. A lot of plot points go down here, and that's just a key thing you'll see. But looking around the outside of it, you can see just what a beautiful castle church thing this is. Like, it's huge, it's amazing. And then if we look around the inside, not only can you recognize, like, oh yeah, they put together the nice grand stairs. Like, somehow they make this staircase grand. Like, if you try to make a large staircase in regular survival, you're gonna mess it up. This staircase is wonderful, this nice little thing at the top. But then if we go inside, you can see it's got that same factor as real life cathedrals do. It's got that exact same feeling on the inside where you feel overwhelmed, where you can see everything. And look at all these great statues they've got on the inside here too. It's a big place. If you look really carefully through the water, you can see your reflection, and this isn't like some weird mod part of it, which probably could have been done that way too, but it is having a through the ice or whatever it is. That is done by having a entire inverted copy down there. It's a really impressive building technique. It's one you don't use very often because the sheer amount of like effort or time or whatever that goes into it. But you can see that no detail can be spared for the opening pool. But yeah, on the outside you can see the insane detail. On the interiors you can see the same, and just everywhere there's a lot going on here. But that's a good way to describe this. There's a lot going on here, and this is just one of the many builds around here. So another really impressive build is the Dragon Pits, the place where all the dragons grew up and or were stabled. You can see looking at any one of these like, oh yeah, this is where dragons would have been at one point. And this is another example of just like a crazy out there build in terms of maybe this inspires you, and like, because it's instead of it's kind of like dug half into the ground and then it's got these huge things coming out of it. It's an impressive style. Maybe it inspires you.
Yeah, so also interesting about the Dragon Pit is it's supposed to be ruined now, but when we built it, we actually built it unruined. So we built it first how it would have been if it wasn't ruined, to then ruin it.
See, that's a really cool detail. I like that. Like, it's absolutely terrible in terms of the sheer time that's not wasted that used there. But that's a fun detail. I like that.
Yeah, so over here, on top of the gate as well, we got the heads of the traitors. So that's where Ned would have ended up.
Ah, he's there multiple times, it looks like. He has betrayed the kingdom 3 separate times, and I'm glad he's been beheaded all 3. And there's this skull without any face in it anymore. It's good stuff.
Yeah, so if we go inside, you got all the different buildings that you need for a castle. Over here, we'll have a look at the throne room first.
Ah, the Iron Throne.
Yeah, and the throne in the books is a lot bigger than the one in the show. It's even bigger than depicted here. It should be even bigger.
Even in the promotional images, it's like way bigger, right? It's like this mega thing, and then it's just a seat they sit on. Is it actually made of knives or blades or the iron or whatever? Like,
yeah, so it's made out of all the blades that fought against Aegon the Conqueror. So also because the North bent the knee before they fought, so that means there's no swords of Northerners in here. But there are swords from like people that fought for the Lannisters and the Reach, and everyone who fought against Aegon ended up with their swords melted in the throne. So if you go down here, this is Varys' house. And yeah, it's not special, but if you look at the bedroom, in the show it's not explained, but Varys has a stone bed, and if you press this button over here, you'll see why. The button on the wall.
Oh, okay, let's do it. Why is his bed made of stone? Oh, it's a secret passageway, because of course it is.
Yeah.
And what's in his secret oh, so he can get out.
Yeah,
if
so
he's attacked or something.
Yeah, these are all the secret tunnels that are running through the Red Keep. So it's a whole complex of passageways. If you just walk through here, you'll get lost. You might never see the outside again.
Let's make sure we don't get lost then. Oh, that's a fun little Easter egg. I've heard sleeping on stone is good for your back as well, just as a pro tip. You should get a stone bed in your house.
Yeah, so all throughout the castle there are secret passageways too. That's also how Varys' little birds know everything, because he got little spy holes in every room through the passageways, which run through the walls as well.
That explains that one.
Yeah, so here as well you got Maegor's Holdfast behind there, the big one, and this one is the Tower of the Hand. So this is where the Hand of the King would live.
It's nice that the King's Hand gets such a nice town. You know, he's just kind of like a second in command.
Yeah, gets to his own tower.
Nice. So yeah, they even have down here in the basement. It's a fun little detail, but they have all of the dragon skulls showing how. Over the time of the Targaryens, they went from having huge dragons, the biggest one, and then they got smaller and smaller and smaller. It's a fun little detail that is included here on this map. So here is the very top of the Red Keep. We got the King's Room. He's got some very nice bedding, some very nice bathrooms. So, you know, every part of this is nice, because fun fact, he's a king. He gets the best of everything. Again, even more nice details of the kind of throny seat at the table, of the giant paper pen. It's all very good stuff. Even the the stag to represent the Baratheon stuff. It's all very clever in my opinion. But yeah, basically I've shown off enough of this so far. It's a huge server that could take me hours and hours of exploration to really dive into everything, because we just spoke about the major parts of the show today, like that, and the show is just a small part of the books of which this is based on. There are so many settlements outside every single major place. If you want to dive into the north, there's so many different settlements there. Do you want to dive into the areas between places? You'll find things. This is a huge server, and every single day it gets a little bit bigger, a little bit more, detailed, a little bit more complex. And you've seen the style, you've seen the effort that goes into building. It's something that's just truly to be marveled at. If you want to join, I believe anyone can join the server if they would like to give it a tour around. I don't know what the process is for joining. Maybe you can explain that now, actually.
Yeah, so anyone who has Minecraft Java Edition and has downloaded our launcher can join the server, but if they want to become a builder, they'll have to go through an application process first to show that they're up to scratch with the style of the server. But if you don't have Minecraft Java Edition, or you don't want to download our separate launcher to play it, you can always check out our YouTube channel, which is just Westeros Craft on YouTube, and myself and my girlfriend are in charge of making videos there. So every week we cover a different area of the server, and we go in more detail about the history of that region and how it was built.
Okay, so yeah, if you want to see this just mega project for inspiration, or just because you love the show and want to see some of your favorite locations, or love the books and want to see your favorite locations but inside the game, it's a thing you can do. And I hope this video, regardless of what you take from it, maybe you do want to check this out, maybe you just thought it was amazing, hopefully this is another source of inspiration. One of the things I always try to do when I show off amazing mega projects like this is to show how anything is possible in Minecraft. That's the beauty of the game. And, you might think to yourself sometimes like, well, what can I build? The answer is there's an endless list of things. There's an endless list of things in your life that you would love to see in Minecraft, but maybe don't think about. And, yeah, until I heard about Westeros Craft, it wasn't something I'd even considered. Like, oh yeah, Game of Thrones, I like that. Minecraft, I like that. You'd never think about the overlap between those interests. But again, anything is possible in Minecraft. Anything. Name a thing that's impossible in the comments and I'll prove you wrong. But yeah, thank you very much for watching this video. Thank you very much to Kobe for showing me around this today. Again, there is a Westeros Craft YouTube channel where you can see the slow progress, I believe, over the years. And yeah, this has been quite the experience. But for now, I'm going to have to watch the sunset and say goodbye. So, goodbye.